So here's what people will shop around on the DARPA internet, which is why 3,348 people have circulated this. 3,634 have liked this. You look up on the top left, if I can zoom in, which I can't, apparently. Either way, it's, solar system horse shit. To the right, you got viruses, but it also bleeds into atomism, which is garbage. And then you got dinosaurs on the bottom left, which is garbage. And evolution is obviously garbage, but people don't look into any of these at all. The flat earth and the globe theory are both paradigms spoon-fed to you and I by our masters. And are technically our masters' forefathers. You can't use either of them as a tool. Neither of them reflect reality as a whole. And I could show you the finer details, but I'm surrounded by people who believe in shit like this. And or what I'll go on to highlight. In terms of germ theory and all that other garbage, we could get into that. I have left some of that online, and I still don't leave some of that online because some of those videos are removed because patently fascist censorship is alive and well, because most people who buy into or bought into and or believe this garbage also paved the way for patently fascist censorship. They bought into cancel culture, which is fascism culture, which is, horse shit. So down on the bottom left, you got dinosaurs. We don't have any real dinosaur bones and all the other garbage that the Freemason and likely Zionist puppet Eric Dubay spoon-fed people. If you do look into it, it does track. But what he was selling while he was telling you about those things was, ironically, part of the model, the flip side to the one on the top left. He was selling people the flat earth because he was polarizing people, because the core tenet behind fascism is quite literally divide and conquer, which is why you and I are constantly polarized. Buy into the flat earth. No, buy into the, the globe theory. And then they pit you and I against one another because most people are dumb enough to buy into one of those camps instead of looking into things. They buy into them instead. Then you got evolution, which I complain about all the fucking time. Darwin stole his... This is usually all I'll throw people, for the most part. Usually I'll throw you maybe one or two bones, but Darwin stole his working concepts from a dying man in a tent. Everybody I've ever met who has used the word evolution has never heard of that, which means they bought into something instead of looking into something. You should already know the name of the man in the tent, but people don't. This garbage is in the programming again and again and again and again and again because that's quite literally psychic driving. That's what people would think of as brainwashing. It's quite literally why people know this, because anything that's well-financed and well-circulated is fucking propaganda. Case in point, you got 4 examples here. You got an account, once again, though, that's being circulated. Yeah? Why would this be circulated if he was, in fact, pointing something out that you're not supposed to appreciate? Because if you look at his handle, he's not only misspelling words, but he's telling you that the Matrix is real. He spells it as MTRX and then is real, which is ridiculous. Also, another social engineering trend was claiming that things are real. It's ironic if you're paying attention and if you don't know what I'm talking about. So I mentioned the top right, germ theory and viruses and garbage along those lines. And I'm not saying germ theory is garbage. I'm saying what people believe in is garbage. Take 2020 to present day. Not one person I know that became a vaccinated facial diaper had a fucking clue what a micron is. And that was actively censored online. Me talking about microns. How many microns, does a respiratory virus consist of? Does the matrix in your facial diaper prevent you from, catching a respiratory virus? Fuck no. It's ridiculous. So back to point. Atomism in terms of germ theory, or germs, viruses. Atomism and this matrix garbage, they're both in place to pave the way for a one-world religion. And those of you who have heard me rattle that off numerous times over, I hope that was funny. It's a rainy day here in Portland. I'm tired of being surrounded by fools. I'm still actively censored on the DARPA internet because I'm surrounded by fools. There should be so many people. A gaggle of fucking people keeping up, putting in the time, and doing the right thing. Because I leave nothing but answers on having to do with reality online every single fucking day, damn near. And I have for a very, very long time. But I'm surrounded by people like this. And all the kids, keep in mind, all these kids like this. But they like this on a profile that's circulating Matrix horse shit. what I've rattled off in the past, and I hate repeating myself, but I do it often because nobody sees the videos usually. That 1999 film, The Matrix, yeah. The reason that was well-financed and well-circulated is, by and large, it's all propaganda. Most of it is. And most people haven't figured that out. There's only one or two cool things in the goddamn franchise, and I don't know anybody who has figured it out. But I also don't know anybody who understands what 9/11 symbolically represents, and most people don't understand who, is behind it, behind that shit. Same people are behind all of these things, mind you. And you're not supposed to talk about them, but they happen to own TikTok and YouTube. Nudge, nudge, something, something, motherfucker. They're the same people who wrote JPEGs, GIFs is usually how I say it, GIFs, emojis, and pronouns into free social engineering platforms. They also trained you and I to carry around a, surveillance tool and profile ourselves on these platforms. They're the people who trained us to use the DARPA internet. So back to point. And this is a short list, but it's not all of them. You got simulation theory, the multiverse of adult fairy tales, holographic nonsense, quantum horseshit, which is quantum theory. Look it up. Google will still tell you that it's a theory because it's true. And you got atomism. All of those are in place to pave the way for a one-world religion. Another example is bullshit aliens that don't exist and never will. But I wouldn't be surprised if down the line we see test tube man-made abominations. Quite literally, things cooked up in a fucking lab, paraded around on the box and or in real life, and we'll be told these are aliens. And I've rattled this off in the past, so I'll say it again. More likely than not, those things will look lizard-like, reptilian, which is why lizard people, reptoids, David Icke, controlled opposition, horseshit narratives have been well-financed and well-circulated. It's also why David Icke is still alive. Nudge, nudge, something, something again. But what the fuck do I know?